Before I get on out of here, I had to talk about a story that's very, very important. And albeit indirectly, it involves Caitlin Clark, the Department of Justice, and quite possibly the President of the United States himself.
The commissioner may need a stress ball because you can tell it's serious when the federal government begins investigating the WNBA and Congress begins to ask questions. Washington is watching as Caitlin Clark, who is in her second year, being thrown around like it's WWE. Before we get started, a quick question. Is this league beyond salvation, or should the federal government intervene? Okay, so the federal government is now formally monitoring the WNBA because no one considered it a problem when Caitlin Clark was consistently dumped as if she owed people money. Additionally, as the league avoids the issue, hosting meetings with a tone of "let's wait it out," it's obvious that this won't go away. Look, I understand now. Government inquiries are disliked by all. No one is cheering Uncle Sam on as he enters a basketball game with a clipboard. However, when referees behave blindly, athletes hurl elbows, and league executives remain silent, people are left with no other option. Let's begin with WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. The league's salaried leader is now trying to influence the group to remain silent. She has been quieter than a library this finals week. Maybe if she had responded sooner, things wouldn't have gotten out of hand. However, Caitlin Clark is frequently struck on the court, off the ball, during dead balls, and more. And there was no penalty for those cheap shots. Just vibes, no penalties, suspensions, or ejections.
But one thing I will not do is take credit for this. I am looking at the Wall Street Journal. The author of the article is a guy by the name of Sean McLean. Let me read to y'all the opening couple of graphs because I want you to hear the impact of this. This is serious. This is serious. And I could say it with my team here, having the footage and the receipts to back me up. I could be in that I told you so mode. I really, really could. But I ain't going to do that because I'm in a good mood. I'm going to be chill. But I could be saying I told you so. Because let me read this to you.
The three major hits that created this governmental catastrophe. The now famous blindside hit by Kennedy Carter while the ball wasn't even in play. Diamond Shields is acting like an NFL linebacker. Marina Mabra casually engaged in what appeared to be more of an attack than a defense. We're watching either Street Fighter or basketball when we add a Tina Charles sneak punch to the back. Here's the really good part. These weren't any basketball plays. None. Hard defense is not what we are discussing. As if we were trying out for a stunt double role, we are discussing deliberate off-ball full-body schvies. Even so, the WNBA continued to act as if nothing had changed while sitting with its arms crossed. Given Caitlin's influence, you would imagine on income, they would at least pretend to be concerned. However, after doing the numbers, they have determined that letting her get smacked is more cost-effective. Let's be honest. Caitlin's attention is what the WNBA wants, but they don't want the accountability. In exchange for selling out arenas, increasing app downloads, increasing ratings, and selling jerseys, she receives a shoulder to the ribs and a league full of people who ignore her. The silence eventually contributes to the issue. And now it has since Senator Jim Banks of Indiana stated, "All right, that's enough." He demanded answers in a letter to the league. And yep, it's a real federal letter inquiring as to why the WNBA continues to overlook foul shove after shove, following foul. He's not requesting preferential treatment. He's requesting little security. It's similar to what every other professional league star typically receives. Additionally, the Wall Street Journal's article regarding Caitlin's human rights violations was a warning rather than merely an opinion. You had better pay attention when one of the nation's largest financial institutions says, "Hey, this might be illegal." Then Stephen A. Smith appears, and you can say whatever you want about him. People pay attention when he speaks. The WNBA may be considering a federal probe, he added. He claimed that Trump may even take advantage of it to mobilize political support. And he is correct. Let's be honest, the internet would go crazy if Trump mentioned defending Caitlin Clark. America would be enraged in half. The other half would be furious. In any case, the WNBA would make headlines for all the wrong reasons. Perhaps that's what it needs, because the league isn't reacting to journalists, players, or fans at the moment. When Washington knocks on their door, perhaps they will finally say something.
Joined the league last year, Ms. Clark's impact has been seismic. Merchandise sales soared 601%. Indiana Fever viewership jumped 170%. The team's value tripled. League Pass subscriptions climbed 366%. App engagement rose 613%. And her endorsements topped $11 million.
Some people are now wondering why this is important. This is the reason. It's not just about Caitlyn. It concerns a league that wants to develop, be respected, and be taken seriously, but doesn't act like it. It is not possible to have it both ways. You can't raise ticket prices, promote a player, shift games to larger venues for her, put her in every commercial, and then pretend you're startled when people expect you to defend her. To see Caitlyn, fans are taking flights across the nation. Children are wearing her jersey. To watch her play, families are spending money they don't actually have. She may not even be able to complete the game after being hit so hard.
Instead of protecting its transformative star, the league's leadership ignores the relentless targeting of Ms. Clark, treating its greatest asset as if she were a PR headache. That approach could turn into a legal liability for the WNBA.
I would also be upset if I had paid $400 to watch LeBron, and he had left in the second quarter due to someone checking him into the scorer's table. The sports betting angle is another. These games are currently attracting millions of bets. It's not merely poor officiating if the referees aren't calling clear fouls against the best player in the league. That begins to raise suspicions. Additionally, suspicion turns into an investigation when money is involved. Let's now discuss team strategy. The clubs have discussed how to handle Caitlyn in the locker room, according to many players. Yes, real players. That's a kind way of expressing that they have publicly arranged their level of physical contact.
Cunningham told the Wall Street Journal she's Caitlyn Clark's teammate, the Indiana Fever. The star player of the league is not being protected. Rebecca Lobo, analyst, ESPN. What does she say? Every single one of those plays against Caitlyn Clark has been a foul. Dick Vitale, winning 1.29 million All-Star votes, came in for Caitlyn Clark, yet she was ranked 9th among guards on a player ballot. Quote, absolutely pure jealousy that the WNBA players voted Caitlyn Clark the 9th best guard. Someday they will realize what she has done for all of the players in the WNBA. Chartered planes, increase in salaries, sold out crowds, improved TV ratings, etc. And they ain't lying.
This isn't speculation. Now, Caitlyn's teammate Sophie Cunningham explicitly stated that they talked about how hard they would be on Caitlyn when she played in Phoenix. Even she believes it's too much now that she's seen it from the other side. When a teammate believes you are being mistreated, that should speak volumes. And there's the sexual and racial aspect that no one wants to discuss. Here, let's avoid being foolish. Caitlyn is white. She is heterosexual. In ways that other players in the league might not be, she is incredibly marketable. Additionally, some people simply dislike that. Candace Wiggins, a former player, claimed that since she was gay, she was harassed out of the league. Caitlyn is currently being harassed for being successful, white, and heterosexual. It goes beyond toxic culture. That begins to resemble, you guessed it, civil rights issues. The Department of Justice may now be circling. This is not conspiracy theory. The federal government is interested in this. You're asking for government attention when you combine sports, money, discrimination, and leadership silence. Commissioner Kathy is still doing her hardest to look like a mime. She worked at one job: expand the league while safeguarding the stars. That's all. She has watched the league become into a political punching bag while allowing the biggest star to be thrown around like a pinball. That's the appearance of panic. That's how my lack of authority over my own league appears. Additionally, if they don't exercise caution, Caitlyn may wind up dominating the league in court rather than in scoring. The footage is truthful, the complaints are mounting, and litigation are on the horizon. Every hit, every missed foul, and every non-call are all captured on camera. Additionally, they are now considered legal proof rather than merely poor publicity. This league has every opportunity to make things right. Kennedy Carter might have been suspended. Diamond might have been fined to Shields. The referees may have been instructed to call the game fairly. Rather, they allowed it to grow. They made an effort to wait it out. Congress is now penning letters. The media is resisting. Additionally, supporters are abandoning them. The league desired publicity. They understood. Not the type they were hoping for, though. This is where the biscuit truly comes to life. People are seeming perplexed as to why this is currently blowing up. They say things like, Caitlin Clark's just being hazed. Alternatively, this is typical. Every new star experiences this. That's the line we're using now, I see. Hazing as if we were on a college campus during freshman week. But here's the problem. She is not a novice. She is a second-year student. She is a contender for MVP. Last season, she had the most assists in the league. This isn't a rookie attempting to get stripes. She's already done that. Instead, she's already getting bruises. Let's take this seriously. No other game after game, players in the league receive this kind of abuse. Sabrina Ionescu is seldom caught off guard during dead balls. Breanna Stewart doesn't appear to be whistling while absorbing blows from behind. You can ensure that there would have been a press announcement and a fine within a day if your expensive arena nachos had actually occurred. However, Caitlyn seems to be challenging us to take notice. They're coming up with some very inventive reasons, man. She speaks excessively negatively. Yes, all of the league's players do. Is it a man or a woman? Talking trash is an element of the game. However, it has been a green light for full body impact since when? She is arrogant. Okay. Lastly, I checked confidence wasn't a foul. Half of the WNBA would be on the sidelines if we penalized people for having confidence. She's not accustomed to playing physically. That one is my favorite since it seems that being triple-teamed every night and leading the NC in scoring no longer qualify as physical play. It's no secret that Caitlin Clark didn't suddenly soften. She recently joined a league where physical contact has evolved into let's see what we can get away with. Not to be overlooked are some who claim that it is simply a part of the culture. Yes, exactly. Perhaps the culture needs to change. The hits aren't the only problem facing the league. It's the quiet, the deception, the gaslighting, and the notion that if you bring up the obvious, you're either disrespecting the league or, worse, you're against the game. No. Upholding the league's standards would be a sign of respect. It would entail providing equal protection for all of its players. Calling them what they are, blatant fouls rather than poorly executed basketball plays, would be necessary. Since the referees and front office are not solely to blame, let's now discuss the other players. Some of these women are simply having fun. They approach striking Caitlyn as if it were the newest WNBA team-building activity. Today, who can defeat Clark? They tweet mysterious things. They enjoy posts that are dubious. They pretend that because she is well-liked, she deserves it. It's not a competition. That's resentment. Sadly, it's making the league seem ridiculous. We're all arguing whether the next game will end in a stretcher or a statement, rather than discussing the real basketball. Even Caitlyn's admirers are beginning to take notice. Hey, we love the sport, but what's with all the body slams? That's not good for anyone, they're saying. This league had a once-in-a-lifetime chance. A player who might attract millions of new viewers. A player who made casual admirers purchase season tickets. A player who, for the first time ever, made non-WNBA fans discuss the WNBA. Just goes away. Spoiler alert, it won't. Because this isn't just a Caitlin Clark issue anymore. It's a league issue, a leadership issue, a branding issue. How do you expect the public to invest in your product when you can't even protect the most important part of it? Imagine the NBA letting someone body check Steph Curry every night and then saying, well, he should toughen up. They'd burn the league to the ground. But somehow the WNBA thinks they can do that with Caitlyn and still grow the game.
It doesn't work that way.
And now, thanks to all the silence, all the cover-ups, all the passive-aggressive post-game interviews, this thing is growing legs. Political legs, legal legs, PR disaster legs, all disappears. It won't, spoiler alert, because Caitlin Clark is no longer the only person affected by this. It's a branding issue, a leadership issue, and a league issue. When you can't even safeguard the most crucial aspect of your product, how do you expect the public to invest in it? Imagine the NBA allowing someone to physically examine Steph Curry each night and then declaring, well, he should toughen up. They would completely destroy the league. However, the WNBA believes they can do that with Caitlin and still advance the sport. That is not how it operates. And now this thing is getting legs because of all the quiet, all the cover-ups, and all the passive-aggressive post-game interviews. Legal legs, PR disaster legs, political legs, all the emails start getting subpoenaed. When we find out who knew what, when they knew it, and why they didn't act. When we see text threads from front offices saying, let it play out or we can't suspend her. Bad optics. That's when the league's real nightmare begins. And I hate to say it, but they brought it on themselves. They had every chance to stop it, and they chose to let it ride. Well, the ride's over. And Caitlin Clark, she's not going anywhere. She's still putting up numbers. She's still selling out arenas. She's still showing up to games like a professional while the rest of the league plays backyard brawl. So now the WNBA has the emails begin to be subpoenaed. When we learn who knew what, when they knew it, and why they did nothing about it. When front desk employees send us text messages stating, let it play out or we can't suspend her. Poor optics. The league's true nightmare starts at that point. They brought it on themselves, as much as I hate to admit it. Despite having every opportunity to stop it, they choose to let it continue. The journey is now over. Furthermore, Caitlin Clark will not be leaving. She continues to post numbers. She continues to sell out arenas. While the rest of the league plays backyard brawl, she continues to show up to games like a professional. The WNBA currently has two options. First, let's be honest. Start safeguarding your players. Make people answerable. Take on the role of a professional league. Option 2. Continue allowing this situation to worsen until you meet with a judge rather than a media team. Kathy, it's your turn. These days, it's more than simply basketball. It has to do with fairness, leadership, and a league that is currently under pressure from the government. What are your thoughts? Is this just politics in a jersey, or is Caitlin Clark receiving unfair treatment? Tell us in the comments. Please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons. We'll see you later.